When we talk about hoop size in commercial embroidery hoops, we're referring to the actual dimensions inside the hoop area. This is different from home hoops, where we refer to the maximum embroidery size rather than the dimensions of the hoop. For example, in home machine hoops made for single needle machines like this hoop, a common hoop size is 4 by 4 inches. The inside dimensions of a 4-inch by 4-inch hoop actually measures about 5 inches by 6 inches. So home manufacturers refer to the hoop by actual sewing area allowed by the machine in any particular hoop size. Durkee Hoops manufactures a broad range of high-quality hoops designed to meet the needs of embroiderers to embroider a wide range of products, from jeans to bags to shirts and jackets, and, well, you get the idea. Plus, these hoops were created to fit almost all manufacturers' embroidery machines. Because different machines have different size sewing areas, it would be impossible to state a maximum sewing area for a one-size-fits-all answer. For example, this Durkee hoop is a 15 centimeter by 15 centimeter hoop, better known as a 6-inch by 6-inch hoop. Someone new to embroidery or used to working with home embroidery machine hoops might incorrectly interpret that this number means you can stitch a 6 by 6-inch design in this hoop.
When an appropriate margin is allowed around the design to the hoop sides, you could embroider about a 5-inch design inside a 6 by 6-inch hoop.
It's always a good idea to use the smallest hoop that will comfortably accommodate a design, but I recommend that you leave at least a 1/2 inch margin on the outside of all edges of the design to the edge of the hoop. This allows the presser foot plenty of room, both front and back. Commercial machines don't lock you out from embroidering in a hoop that's too small, like a home machine will. Also, crossover machines like the Brother PR series and the Baby Lock Professional series don't recognize hoops made by other manufacturers.
Tracing your design is always the best way to assure that your design fits comfortably in the hoop area. On a multi-needle machine, you want to be sure you're watching the correct needle when tracing. The easiest way to be certain is to make it a habit to index the hoop to the first needle before you trace, needle number 1. Place the machine on needle number 1 and center the needle in the proposed hoop size. Then trace, watching the number 1 needle. To begin hooping a shirt, mark the location of the center of the embroidery. This will be located in the center of the hoop. Insert the outer ring of the hoop through the large opening at the bottom of the shirt. Insert the stabilizer through the bottom of the shirt, completely covering the outer hoop ring inside the shirt. Inserting the hoop and stabilizer through the bottom opening eliminates the need to unbutton and rebutton the shirt for hooping and embroidery. Next, locate the opening that dictates the direction that the hoop will be placed in the machine. Some embroiderers like to load garments through the bottom opening, and some load through the neck opening. I load shirts through the larger bottom opening so that any oil that may get on the shirt is not in the highly visible collar area. You shouldn't need to use a lot of force to insert the inner hoop ring. After inserting the ring, lift the shirt and gently push the inner ring through the outer ring so that it is slightly lower than the outer ring. This is called recessing the hoop, and it's desirable because it places the material flatter to the machine table. Turn the shirt inside out to verify that the stabilizer has been secured in all edges of the hoop. Check your fabric tension by running your index finger lightly across the knit. The fabric should not bunch up ahead of your finger, which would be called snow plowing. Finally, try to lift the knit away from the stabilizer. It should be difficult to separate them.
When hooping a knit shirt, it's very important that your backing, also called stabilizer, extends by about 3/4 of an inch outside all edges of the hoop. If the stabilizer isn't secured in all edges of the hoop, outlines could be off track or fabric could be puckered. To help with this, a hooping station like this one holds the stabilizer in place using magnetic clips. Notice that Durkee hoops have taller sides than mini hoops, allowing you to get more bite on the fabric, and this makes it easier to recess your inner hoop to be slightly lower than the outer ring. Hoops should not be adjusted more than finger tight. Using tools to over-tighten hoop leads to hoop damage and worse, hoop burn on your garments. Hoop burn occurs when the fabric has been bruised by an over-tightened hoop. This knit shirt has been marked with a dot that indicates the center of the design. I'll load the inner ring onto the hooping station and position the shirt, making sure the fabric's nice and smooth, and we just let the hooping station do the work. After removing the shirt from the hooping station, I'm going to press the inner ring slightly to recess it, placing it flatter to the machine table. This eliminates flagging, a common cause of bird nesting. After hooping, turn your garment inside out to assure that we have that 3/4 of an inch margin extending outside the hoop so that we make sure we don't get the fabric puckering or outlines drifting off registration. If after embroidering a hoop does leave a slight impression on the garment, you can usually remove it by misting lightly with steam or water. You can also moisten a cloth with a laundry aid called Magic Spray Sizing, available in the laundry aid section of major stores, and dab the hoop impression with the moistened cloth to restore the fabric finish to the material. Now let's take a look at how to make that marking template. To make a template for any size hoop, you'll need paper and a quilter's template. These can be purchased at any major craft store. There are different ways they can be purchased, by the package or in a large sheet like this one. To begin, we'll trace the inner ring, not the outer ring, but the inner ring area onto the paper. So I'm going to trace. Then we're going to fold the paper so that all of the edges meet, making a center point in our paper. Then I'll mark that center point with a dot. Next, we slide the paper under the grid plastic and align the dot with one of the major intersections with the darker lines on the grid plastic. Next, I'm going to place my inner ring right on top of the red outline that I traced, and trace again, this time on the template plastic. And I'll mark my dot in the center. Now we're ready to cut out our template, and we'll cut the template right on the red outline. This should make it fit perfectly within the Durkee hoop without being too small and slipping around, or too large to fit snugly inside the hoop. And there's our newly completed template. That's a great fit, and you can use it to align embroideries, even embroideries that have been previously applied to a shirt, so that you can apply additional embroidery or just to line up with garment elements. I hope this tip will help you create templates for any size Durkee hoop.